And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. First of all, apologies for the atrocious background. I'll get it sorted for the next few videos. I want to get the green screen back. This is not a great background right now, so apologies for that. But I do want to get a video out for you guys because there's a lot to discuss in today's video. As you can tell by the title, Fabrizio Romano provides huge Celtic news. So we'll discuss that in a moment. But I want to start today's video by going over a report from the Daily Mail through Football Scotland. And it's with regards to a player that was on loan with us last season and his potential permanent transfer to the club. And that is of course, Paulo Bernardo. So they say Celtic are pushing to finalise a permanent sign of Paulo Bernardo before the upcoming USA pre-season tour. And that is, of course, according to the Daily Mail. So, of course, he spent last season on loan at Celtic, where he made a significant impact in both domestic and Champions League matches. He wasn't great throughout the campaign, don't get me wrong. I think there was glimpses of how good he could be, and I think that's enough for the Celtic fans and the Celtic board to look at that. I think maybe if we get him on a permanent transfer, we can nurture him and make him a great player for us in many years to come. But Bernardo has reportedly been told he does not feature in Benfica's future plans and is therefore pushing for a Celtic move. Now, we reported out a few weeks ago that he wanted to let his agents crack on with this Celtic transfer whilst he was on holiday. Unfortunately, that didn't go to plan. He's back in pre-season training with Benfica, but he's still very much pushing for a Celtic move. So a transfer fee of £4.2 million has been agreed between Celtic and Benfica, with discussions now focusing on the terms of a sell-on clause. Bernardo's performances last season, which included crucial roles in key matches and a memorable goal in the derby, have made securing his transfer a priority for Celtic and Brendan Rodgers. The midfielder's desire to return to Celtic and their progress in negotiations suggests that both parties are optimistic about finalising the deal in time for Bernardo to join Brendan Rodgers' squad as they head to the United States. The first match of the tour is against DC United on July 21st, which is just under 2 weeks away, so quick turnaround if we can get him in for that. So £4.2 million has, well, the transfer fee which has been reportedly agreed. Now there's some minor details that the clubs need to sort out. So the sell-on clause, when Celtic, if they do sell him in the future for big profit, Benfica will have a percentage of whatever they make on the sale of Paulo Bernardo. Now, which is fair enough, you know, they're losing a young player, so that always, of course, makes sense. And I'm sure there's wages to sort out as well, because that apparently was the issue a few weeks ago. There was issues with the wages. But if Paulo Bernardo is interested in joining Celtic, he must know that he needs to drop his wage demands a little bit, just to help the club out. Of course, we can't really afford to pay probably what he's on at Benfica, or we can, but it's not as part of our structure at the club. It's not what we do, and he knows that, and he's keen for the moves. I'm sure that's not an issue anymore. I'm sure it's just probably the little clauses in the contract between the two clubs, because that report basically states that Paulo Bernardo is very much keen on this move, which is awesome to see. And hopefully that transfer does get over the line. As I mentioned, I thought he had great parts of his season last year. He wasn't great throughout. There was some inconsistencies in his games. But he had some great moments as well where we thought this guy could be a really good player for us if we can get him on a permanent transfer. And hopefully that is the case and we can get him signed down sooner rather than later. And obviously they want it before the USA tour. Right, let's go through this Fabrizio Romano story here. This one's quite interesting and again quite frustrating because it's a repeated pattern that we've seen already this transfer window. So the situation surrounding Celtic's young talent Daniel Kelly is growing increasingly tense as the club struggles to secure his long-term future. Renowned Italian transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has highlighted that Kelly could potentially leave the club for free come January if a new contract isn't agreed upon soon. So this is what Fabrizio Romano tweeted. He said, 2005-born talent Daniel Kelly could leave Celtic as a free agent in January. There's still no agreement after Celtic proposal to the player. Could be one to watch as many European top clubs follow him, including Bayer Leverkusen. Celtic have rejected all approaches so far. So Celtic have already seen one promising youngster leave, as I just mentioned, Rocco Varta. He went to Watford this transfer window after scoring his first senior goal for the Hoops last season. The club is evidently keen to avoid a repeat with Kelly, having rebuffed all interest so far, including from a major European clubs like Bayer Leverkusen, as noted by Fabrizio Romano. So Kelly's rise to the first team and his debut goal have made him a player to watch, but without a new deal, his future at Celtic hangs in the balance. As January approaches, it could become a pivotal moment for both Kelly and Celtic, depending on how negotiations unfold. Now, this is annoying. If we lose another good youngster to on the cheap, sorry, to another European club, that is really, really poor. And the fact that Bayer Leverkusen are interested in him, I mean, look at the last player they bought from Celtic, unbelievable player, Jeremy Frimpong. I guess Daniel Kelly's situation is a little bit different. He's not a regular starter like Frimpong was for us that many years ago. But if they are interested in him, they must see something in him. And I think the club, obviously, Celtic know how good he is as well, because they are desperately trying to get him to sign a new contract. But again, it goes back to the same thing. Is there a clear pathway for Daniel Kelly to get into the first team? Yes or no? If he thinks no, then he's going to go somewhere else and try and get into their team. I don't think it'll be as easy for him at Bayer Leverkusen, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. But maybe he feels like he might be a clearer way into that first team rather than there is at Celtic, which, again, there's something that needs to change here with the youngsters. There needs to be that clear vision. Can I get from the youth level to the first team? Is there a way? Can I look at these players that have done it before and think, actually, I can do that myself? I mean, it's happened a few times, don't get me wrong, but it's not a regular enough occurrence that these players feel confident in themselves that they can get into the first team of Celtic. Of course, like McGregor, Forrest, Kieran Tierney a few years ago before we sold him. These players have done this before, but again, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of players have done it. So I guess I do see their frustration and maybe their want to leave the club. These guys are Celtic fans as well. These guys are childhood supporters of this club, and they still feel like they need to leave to get first team football. It's really frustrating. But hopefully this situation does unfold a little bit different to the one of Rocavata, because that one was really annoying. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on everything we discussed in today's video. Of course, do you think Paulo Bernardo is worth £4.2 million? I think he is, and I think it's good to see the club forking out that amount of money for a player that they want, rather than, I guess, I know he's young, but I wouldn't really call him a project player. I think he'll be a player that'll be in and around the first team, which is a good signing for us. The Adam Ida situation is still ongoing as well. I'm sure that will come to a conclusion soon. And the goalkeeper situation, we spoke about Vindel Henson the other day. That one's still very much in the mix as well. So a lot going on right now. Some positive stuff going on as well with these transfers. But this Daniel Kelly one is a little bit frustrating because he is a very, very good youngster, and I don't want to lose another one in January for free or for a mini compensation fee. It's not good enough for Celtic. But yeah, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.